This is the story of Arthur Vance, a man whose name you have probably never heard, but whose life holds a question that will haunt you long after this video ends. Arthur was a trackmaster. For over 15 years, he worked at the Blackwood Junction, a vital railway crossroads hidden deep within the foggy valleys of the north. His job was simple, yet terrifyingly important. He sat in a high, iron-controlled tower, watching the massive steel tracks below. With the pull of a single, heavy iron lever, Arthur directed passenger trains and massive cargo lines, ensuring that thousands of souls reached their destinations safely. To the world, Arthur was an invisible man, a shadow in a tower. But to his 7-year-old son, Leo, Arthur was a hero. Part 2. The Boy and the Tower. To understand Arthur's choice, you must understand his world. 3 years before our story begins, Arthur lost his wife, Eleanor, to a sudden illness. From that day on, Leo was his entire universe. Every decision Arthur made, every extra shift he took, was for the boy with the bright green eyes and unstoppable curiosity. Leo was a quiet child, but his eyes lit up whenever he heard the distant rumble of a train. He knew the schedule by heart. On a cold, misty Tuesday morning, Leo had no school. He begged his father to let him come to the control tower. Just for today, Dad. I promise I'll be quiet. I just want to see the express train pass through the valley, he said. Arthur agreed. The morning felt peaceful. They walked together to the station. Hours passed quietly. Leo sat drawing trains while Arthur worked. Then, around 11:30 a.m., Leo asked to go down for a moment to pick up his pencil. Arthur allowed him, warning him not to go near the tracks. Leo promised, but curiosity led him toward the main line. At that exact moment, an alarm exploded inside the control room. The Coastal Express for 105 was early. It was rushing forward at high speed through the fog. Arthur looked outside. Leo was standing on the main track. He screamed, but the wind swallowed his voice. Leo tried to run back, but his foot got stuck in the switch. Arthur froze. The train was seconds away. He couldn't reach Leo in time. Then he saw the lever. 2 choices. Leave it and save for 100 passengers, but lose his son, or pull it, save Leo, but send the train to a deadly crash. The valley trembled. The train roared closer. 10 seconds. Arthur closed his eyes and chose. The train passed. Silence returned. No one truly knows what Arthur felt in that moment, but his story leaves us with a haunting question. If you were in his place, would you save your child or hundreds of strangers? There is no right answer, only a choice and its consequences that echo forever. Part 3. The quiet before the storm. The morning passed like a dream. Leo sat quietly, sketching trains, while Arthur monitored the control panels. Everything felt calm, predictable. The fog outside wrapped the valley in silence. Nothing hinted at danger. But sometimes, the most ordinary moments hide the beginning of something catastrophic. Leo leaned closer to the window, watching the endless lines of steel below. The world fascinated him. Every sound, every movement sparked curiosity. When he spotted the butterfly earlier, it wasn't just distraction, it was innocence in motion, a child following beauty. unaware of danger. And in that small, harmless choice, everything shifted. Part 4. The Ghost Train. Inside the tower, the red warning light flashed violently. The system showed a terrifying truth. The Coastal Express had changed schedule. It was no longer 40 minutes away. It was seconds away. A massive machine carrying hundreds of lives was now racing toward a boy who couldn't escape. Arthur's mind raced faster than the train itself. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to save his son. But logic crushed hope. Distance, speed, time, none were on his side. The laws of physics had already decided the outcome, unless he intervened. And that intervention came with a cost no human should ever face. Part 5. The Ultimate Dilemma. The lever stood there, cold and silent. A simple piece of iron, yet heavier than the world itself. Arthur had pulled it thousands of times before, but never like this. Never with lives balanced on both ends. This was no longer a task. It was judgment. Immediate, irreversible, absolute. Below him, Leo cried out in fear, his small hands gripping the track, trying desperately to free himself. Above him, the train thundered closer, carrying stories, families, futures, to worlds on a collision course. One choice separating life from death, and only seconds left to decide which world survives. Part 6. The echoes of the valley. After the roar faded, silence took over once again. But it was no longer peaceful. It was heavy, suffocating. The kind of silence that carries consequences. Whatever choice Arthur made, the valley would remember, and so would he. Because some decisions don't end in a moment, they echo for a lifetime. The question Arthur faced is not new. Philosophers have debated it for centuries. Is it right to sacrifice one life to save many? Or is every life sacred, beyond calculation? In that tower, Arthur was no longer just a father or a worker. He became the judge of fate, forced to decide in seconds what others spend lifetimes arguing about. Some would call pulling the lever an act of logic. Saving hundreds instead of one seems rational. Numbers make the choice look clear, but emotions do not follow numbers. Love does not calculate outcomes. Could any parent truly stand still and choose strangers over their own child? That is where logic begins to break. Others would say not pulling the lever is selfish. That allowing hundreds to live while one dies is the greater good. But does intention matter? If you actively cause harm, are you more responsible than if you allow it to happen? The difference between action and inaction becomes blurred in moments like this. Arthur didn't have time for philosophy, no time for debate, no time for second opinions. Only instinct, fear, and love. His hands, shaking, held the weight of two futures. One where he loses his son, one where he lives knowing he caused unimaginable loss. Either way, the man he was would not survive unchanged. And that is what makes this story so disturbing. It forces us to confront ourselves. We like to believe we are good, rational people. But placed in Arthur's position, certainty disappears. Morality becomes fragile. What we think we would do may not be what we actually choose. So now, the question poses to you, not as a simple thought experiment, but as something deeper. Imagine the sound of the train, the fear in Leo's eyes, the cold metal of the lever in your hand. Feel the seconds slipping away. Now answer honestly. What would you do? Would you act as a parent, protecting your child at any cost, or as a stranger to your own heart, saving lives you will never see? And if you made that choice, could you live with it? Could you sleep at night knowing what your decision caused? Because in the end, this is not a story about Arthur alone. It is a mirror, a reflection of human nature under pressure, a reminder that some choices don't have clean answers, only consequences, and sometimes silence is the only thing left behind.
If you enjoy these English audio stories, support the channel with a like and follow for new content every week. إذا أعجبك هذا النوع من القصص الصوتية لتعلم الإنجليزية، ادعمني بالإعجاب والمتابعة لمحتوى جديد كل أسبوع.